Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and I have a collection of mini cards, basically. I guess that's what we'll call them, to share with you guys. I started with some heavyweight watercolor cardstock. This is a 140-pound cardstock, and I die cut it with one of the dies from the MFT Wonky Stitched Rectangle stack. And I was able to get 9 die cuts from this sheet of watercolor paper. So I ran it through my machine 9 times. And then I have this Mama Elephant I Like You stamp set that I'd got a couple months ago, I think. I'm not sure. I've had it sitting on my desk for a while, and I was just looking at them today and I was like, these are so cute, and I couldn't decide what image to use, what sentiment to use, and I was like, why don't I use like all of them or as many as possible? So that's how I decided to make whole bunch of these little mini cards. So I'm inking up the sentiments and the images from the set with VersaFine Onyx Black ink and stamping them onto these little die cut pieces. And there's little happy faces included in the set, different little like smiley faces, winky faces. There's even one with the little heart eyes. And then there's also a couple little mini hearts in the set. So I stamped the little random happy faces here and there on the mittens, and then stamped little hearts too, just to kind of give it a little something something. My idea with these was more like these would be the type of Valentines I could make for my kids to give out, or if you'd like, you could adhere these to a full card if you wanted, like turn them into a card, whatever floats your boat. I just kind of wanted to do them, one, to use the stamps because I thought they were really cute, and two, it would give me a bit more time to be able to practice. I've had these Kirtaki Gansai Tambi watercolors for quite a while. I've used them in several videos, but I know I need more practice with them. The more you do it, the better you get at it, and the more used to them you get. There's always room for improvement. So I pulled them out to use, and one thing I'm really liking about these is the fact that you can pull out the pans. So you don't have to have, especially if you're like me and you have the great big huge 36 set that is quite large, it takes up a lot of space. So I pulled out the colors I wanted to use, and I actually just used the plastic. I always kept the plastic insert that came in the packaging. And I just laid that over the same watercolor paper so I can see the colors properly. And I just used that as my palette. So I picked up the colors I wanted with a wet paintbrush and mixed them up there on that plastic packaging, and then just started painting. Didn't make it super finicky, anything technical. I just laid down the color and kind of let it do its own thing. I was pretty heavy-handed with it, let a lot of color go down. I mixed one of the yellows and the greens, and then I would drop in a little bit of that brown because they're pairs, and just let them kind of meld together, which is definitely something I really love to see the look of. It's a little hard to kind of give up that control and just let it do its thing. So it was nice with these though, because they're just little images. These are just little cards. So you can, practice your watercoloring or Copic coloring, pencil coloring, whatever it is you want to do. And not feel so much pressure and just have some fun with it. So I did all the similar ones at the same time. So I was doing all the little pair ones that I had stamped at the same time. And that was a fun thing too. Even though I'm using all the same colors, every single one of them turns out different. So I basically just applied kind of the green, and then I'd add a bit of the yellow, and then I would drop in a bit of the brown. And then once I was done with those, I set them all aside to dry, because that's another thing I'm practicing with watercoloring, is just having a little more patience and letting things air dry, because you definitely get a completely different look air dry versus speeding it up with your heat tool. So with the mittens, I used the kind of purpley fuchsia color I had mixed up. And I'm sorry, for a lot of this, I did not realize I was totally off camera because I zoomed in so much. So I can only show bits and pieces. And then I added a bit of the navy kind of blue color to the mittens as well, and just kind of let it do its thing. And then I watered down the one blue quite heavily to do the little band on the mittens. Set those aside as well, and then went in and kind of created a ground or like a shadow for all these little pairs just to give it a little extra something. So I had watered down the blue quite heavily just to get it more transparent and not so deep, and used that as my ground. And then I used that same color, watered down even more, to create a background for the mitten cards. And one thing I really like about these Gansai Tambi is you can re-wet the edges even after it started to dry a little bit and soften them out. I have not found that works very well with other mediums, or at least maybe I'm just not experienced enough. But I've done it a few times now, and I really, really like that because when I'm, playing around with backgrounds more often than not, I really like to be able to like just let it fade out, really smoothly. And these, even if you don't move quick enough, a lot of times I can go back in with a wet brush and re-soften that edge that's started to dry and pull it out again. So I really like these. They're just fun to play with. So for the little pear ones, I did the mittens just with the blue background and set it aside to dry. And then the mittens, I did the kind of aqua blue color as background and then dropped in that same kind of fuchsia purpley color that I used on the mittens while it was still wet. And same thing, just let it do its own thing. Just kind of drop the color in and let it move where it wanted to. So it's just fun to be able to kind of experiment with stuff like this. So after I was done with all of them, I was just going to leave them. And then I thought I wanted to add some splatter. I've had a lot of people asking me about this little Cosmo Cricut splatter cubby. I showed this in a haul video another month or two ago, whenever it was. It's huge. That mat I'm using, I think is like 11 by 17 or 18 by 24. And this thing takes up like a big chunk of my desk. It folds flat for storage. So you just unfold it. It's got little Velcro pieces and that. And then I've got this great little cubby. So I got it all set up, set all my little watercolor cards in there, and then grabbed my watercolors again and grabbed the gold Gansai Tambi this time. And this one is this is gorgeous, like gorgeous. So grabbed that one, mixed up quite a bit of it and got it back on the plastic insert here. Yeah, got quite a bit of it onto there. And then I grabbed this Tim Holtz splatter brush, which it was either the same haul or around the same time that I showed this. But it's got these like basic plasticky synthetic bristles, like really dense bristles. And I just picked up that gold watercolor with it. And then you just pull back on the bristles and it creates the perfect splatter. So I need to experiment some more with it too, to be able to kind of direct it where I want. With the watercolors, it's a little more iffy because the watercolor travels up the brush. If I was using paint, it would work even better, but it's all about experimenting. So then I thought I would show, because I got asked this too, to clean that brush. You can clean it in the sink. I just like swished it around in my water cup and then wiped it off with a baby wipe while it was still wet. I didn't want to let the watercolor like dry into it. And then same with the splatter cubby. It's basically just like hardboard coated in like a vinyl coating. So wiped it down with a baby wipe, folded it back up, stuck it back under my desk, and it's good to go. So if you're interested in any of the products I used for the cards, the splatter cubby, all that kind of stuff, I will have those linked below the video in the description box right below, as well as a link to my blog post, which will have links to all the other cards in this series. So check that out if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.